And we're on lesson 54. This is all about angle relationships, and your objective here is to define types of angle relationships. We got three on this page so far. Okay, adjacent angles. Adjacent angles are angles that share a side and a vertex but don't overlap. And these angles add up to 180 degrees. Okay, so adjacent angles, let's number some of these angles here. Okay, so if I number this 1, we'll erase that. If I number this angle 1, angle 2, angle 3, and angle 4. Okay, adjacent angles share a side and a vertex but don't overlap. So like this side here with this vertex, angle 1 and angle 2 are adjacent angles. Okay, so we'd say that angle 1 and angle 2 are an example. Okay, another set of adjacent angles that share a side and a vertex would be right here. Here's the side that's the same and this vertex, so angle 3 and angle 4 are adjacent. Okay, adjacent is kind of like neighbors. They're right next to each other. So angle 3 and angle 4. Okay, other ones share this side and this vertex. Angle 1 and angle 3 are adjacent to each other. And angle 3. And then angle 2 and angle 4. Sorry about that. Angle 2 and angle 4 are also adjacent to each other, right next to each other. Okay, now notice 1 and 4 are across from each other. They are not the same because they don't share a side. Here's angle 1, and it doesn't share any sides with angle 4, which is right here. Okay, just the same way, angle 3 and angle 2 don't share any sides, so they are not adjacent angles. So angle 1 and angle 2 add up to 180 degrees, so they are called supplementary angles. Supplementary angles are two angles that add up to 180 degrees. So angle 1 and 2 are supplementary. Okay, all the ones we mentioned before that are adjacent angles are also supplementary, so angle 3 and angle 4 add up to 180. And angle 1 and angle 3. And angle 2 and angle 4. Whoops, sorry, let's try that again. Angle 2 and angle 4 are also supplementary. Okay? Means they add up to 180 degrees. Form a straight line. Okay? Complementary angles are two angles that add up to 90 degrees. So let's say here I've got, let's use letters this time, shall we? Let's say that this angle we're going to say is 90 degrees. And this is angle A. And then we got angle B and angle C. Okay? Well, we know that if angle A is 90 degrees, that angle right here also has to be equal to 90 degrees because they have to add up to 180 together. So this whole angle is 90 degrees. So that means that angle B and angle C go together to make this one. So they are complementary. They add up to 90 degrees. So angle B and angle C are complementary because they make a 90-degree angle right here together. So again, adjacent are ones that are right next to each other and they share a side, like 1 and 2. Supplementary angles are angles that add up to 180 degrees, like 1 and 2 or 1 and 3. Okay, and again, those are also adjacent angles. And then complementary angles add up to 90 degrees. Alright, let's go on to another slide with some more definitions of angles. Okay, on this side we have some congruent angle relationships. Okay, congruent means that these kind of angles are equal to each other. Okay, so they all have the same measure. So any angle that goes with one of these definitions, any pair of angles is going to be equal to each other or congruent. So let's go ahead and number the angles we have on here. Okay. And these angles hold true when you've got two parallel lines. Okay, so these lines that never touch each other, these are parallel lines, and they are cut by what's called a transversal. A transversal is this line that runs across them. Okay, so two parallel lines cut by a transversal, we get a bunch of angle relationships for congruent angles. Okay, the first one is opposite angles or vertical angles. You need to know both those words. They mean the same thing. Okay, and they are angles that are across from each other. So angles across from each other are congruent. And here's what we mean by across from each other. They're across diagonally like this, like 1 and 4. Okay, so angle 1 and angle 4 are vertical angles, or opposite angles. Angle 2 and angle 3 are across the way from each other. Right, so angle 2 and angle 3. Same way, angle 5 and angle 8. And then angle 6 and angle 7. Those are all vertical angles, okay? So, angle 1 and angle 4 are vertical together. That means they are equal, they are congruent. So 1 and 4 are congruent to each other. 2 and 3 are a vertical pair. They are congruent to each other. They're the same measure. Angle 5 and angle 8 are opposite angles. They have the same measure. And angle 6 and angle 7 have the same measure because they are opposite angles. Okay, corresponding angles are angles that are on the same side of the transversal and on the same side of each of the parallel lines. So again, here's my transversal. So corresponding angles have to be on the same side. So if we look at the left side over here, we have some corresponding angles. Okay, now these are not all corresponding to each other because they have to be on the same side of each of the parallel lines. So let's look at angle 1, for example. And let's find its corresponding angle. Angle 1 is on the left side of the transversal over here and on top of a parallel line. Okay, well there's another angle that's on the left side and on top of a parallel line, and that's angle 5 right here. Okay, so those are corresponding angles. They're both on the left of a transversal and on top of a parallel line. Okay, let's look at angle 3. Angle 3 is corresponding with another angle. Okay, it is on the left, again, of the transversal, and it's below a parallel line. Okay, so which one's on the left and below a parallel line? Well, angle 3 and angle 7. Those are corresponding. Okay, then we could have angle 2 on the right side and angle 6. Because they are both on the right of the parallel, or of the transversal, and on top of parallel lines. And then we would also have, can you see the other ones? It would be angle 4 and angle 8. Because they're both on the right of the transversal and below a parallel line. Okay, so angle 1 and angle 5 are equal to each other. Angle 3 and angle 7 are equal to each other. 2 and 6 are equal, and so are 4 and 8. Okay, because they're corresponding angles, those are called. And we got another kind of congruent angle relationships, okay, and they're called alternate interior angles. Interior means that they are between the parallel lines, so interior means inside. That's these 4 right here we're looking at. These are my interior angles. And alternate means they're on opposite sides. So let's say I look at angle 3, for example. Okay. Angle 3 and angle 6 are alternate interior angles. They are on opposite sides of the transversal. One's on top, the other's on bottom. One's on the left, one's on the right. So they're on opposite sides here, and they're on the inside of the parallel lines. Okay, so angle 3 and angle 6 are alternate interior angles, which also means that angle 4 and angle 5 have to go together as alternate interior angles because they're both on the inside and they're on opposite parts of the transversal. One's on top, one's on bottom, and one's on the left and one's on the right. Okay, so alternate interior angles, 3 and 6, 4 and 5. Same way we can have alternate exterior angles. Exterior, though, just means outside. Okay, so now we're looking at the outer angles, the ones that are outside the parallel lines, 1 and 2 and 7 and 8. And alternate means they're in alternate spots. So angle 1 is an exterior angle, and its alternate exterior angle is on the other side of the line and down at the bottom. So angle 1 and angle 8 are alternate exterior angles, which means that angle 2 and angle 7 are also alternate exterior angles. Angle 2's here on the outside, and so angle 7's on the outside, and they're on opposite sides of the transversal. One on top, one on bottom, one on the left, one on the right. Okay? So again, alternate interior angles are equal. 3 and 6 are equal to each other. 4 and 5 are equal to each other. Same thing with alternate exterior. 1 and 8 are equal, and 2 and 7 are equal. Okay, now these last two slides of notes we've taken, that's a lot of stuff to remember. Okay, so when you're doing these, I would highly recommend that you get your notes out, okay, and help you out when you're looking at these, especially if you're asked to tell why things are equal or not. Okay, so you can say, yeah, these are equal because they are vertical angles, or these are equal because they're alternate interior angles. Alright, so let's go on to some examples here.